Hi everyone, Brian Valerio, SVP with Alliance Advisors Advisory Group, back with another Corp Gov alert. Today I want to talk about some common topics that are coming up on off-season shareholder engagement calls between institutional investors and issuers. It's mid-January, so we have a significant amount of data under our belt from the fall off-season engagements and the early winter off-season engagements between issuers and institutional investors. So I figured now is a good time to report out to you guys what we are hearing on some of these calls, what are some of the key focus areas, if you will, from the institutional investors. So the first thing is that these calls have really transitioned to focus on environmental and social issues, the E and the S issues and the ESG engagement, if you will. So that is a new development over the past few years. It's been happening, but this year it's really come to a head where this is the key talking point during the engagement calls. And as such, we're seeing a lot of investment side people, whether it's analysts, research associates, or portfolio managers joining the call along with more traditional corporate governance or investment stewardship personnel. So what are some of the things that people are talking about? Well, the first thing issuers should be prepared to talk about is how E&S issues for the company and the industry at large are factoring into the company's medium to long-term planning and strategy. Investors want to understand how ESG issues are presenting opportunities for growth and ways that the company can improve upon performance, as well as also improve efficiencies and potentially reduce costs. So what you're trying to find out when you're talking to these, or what the institutional investors are trying to find out when they're talking to issuers, are how ESG initiatives from the issuer are aligning with the company's mission and strategy as well as its culture. So let's talk about what some of the most common engagement E&S topics have been so far this year and end of last year. First is GHG emissions. We're seeing this come up on a number of calls, regardless of sector or industry for the issuer. And what institutional investors want to talk about here is largely around target setting as well as emissions reductions goals. Some of the institutional investors are trying to move towards developing net zero portfolios, and as such, they are asking more of their companies and are expecting more of their portfolio companies in their efforts to reduce their own greenhouse gas emissions. The next topic that is coming up on a lot of calls is around DEI issues, whether it's training for employees around unconscious bias, or whether there's employee programs that are put in place to help certain minority groups grow and advance in the company, and whether there's programs that are designed to retain or promote diverse candidates or attract new diverse candidates straight out of college. We're also seeing a lot of conversations around incorporating E&S metrics into executive compensation. One way that this has been going on for the past couple of years is around D&I initiatives, and that continues to be a leading place where we are seeing E&S metrics being used when they are being used in executive compensation. This is something that a lot of institutional investors, even if they haven't developed policies on quite yet, are interested in hearing issuers' thoughts on whether they think it's appropriate to use ESG metrics in executive compensation and if they have plans to do so. We're also seeing some industry-specific types of questions, particularly around supplier codes of conduct and auditing suppliers' practices, as well as talent acquisitions and retention in light of the Great Resignation. So these are just some of the key topics that we're finding on engagement calls in the fall of 2021 and now the winter of 2022. We'll continue to monitor these topics and update you all when there's new data to report out.